Welcome to Tam's Classy Creations, the channel where we break down projects so even a beginner can do it. Today I'm going to be making a placemat for my grandson, but not just any placemat. We're going to put an old painting of his that he made a version of Van Gogh's Starry Night when he was about 4. I thought it would be great to preserve it and let him enjoy it in something more than just a picture on the wall. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Start with a copy of his original artwork that he did, and I'm going to copy it onto fabric. So I buy these freezer paper sheets, and I iron it on the shiny side. I use some muslin and I iron it on a bigger piece, and then I cut it down so it'll fit through my printer. So then here I have printed it on the paper, freezer paper and the muslin. And first off, I'm going to press it a lot, and then I'm going to take it off the freezer paper, and I'm going to put a little backing so it has a little more body. This is SF 101, and it's an interfacing, and all I'm going to do is iron it on the back to give it a little more body. I want to make this look like it's framed in the placemat. So I have cut strips about 2.5 inches, and it's going to be like a mitered picture frame around here. So I'm going to sew one to the top and one to the bottom. Now I need extra room at the edges. So on the picture, I'm going to start at the end. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch and sew on the top, and then I'm going to do the same with another strip on the bottom, a 1/4 inch seam. Now the next step, after we've sewed those all the way to the edge, are the two sides. You need to make sure it's longer, much longer. And what we're going to do is now we are only going to stitch to right here. This is right where the fabric meets here, the seam. So we're going to do a 1/4 inch from here. I'm going to pin it a few places. And we're going to stop, and we're going to back stitch at the beginning and end. We're going to stop right there, right where the seam is, right there. So now we need to form the miters, and we need to form it just like this. So what we do is we take the extra material and we fold it in here where our seams met. And it needs to be straight across on the other 2.5 inch strip. And now we will take this, you can finger press it to start with, but you're going to take that to the iron and press that down. And then you're going to do it to the same on all 4 sides. So we fold that, and actually I also need to pin it. I don't want this to move. So we're also going to pin it, and we do the same. We fold that under, get our corner, so when we can pull that out, and we're going to take this to the ironing board. So now we need to stitch this in because it's just laying here. So what we do is we turn it over, and we are going to stitch from the seam line here, which this is our seam line. We're going to stitch right there, starting and back stitching, and we're going to stitch to here and back stitch on all 4 sides. Now that fold line is our stitch line. Now we need to trim this seam. I'll trim it to about between 1/4 and 1/2 inch, and we're going to iron these opened so everything lays flat. Now let's just clean up these corners. Now we're going to finish the placemat. So I have the batting, I have the right side of the fabric, the backing facing up, and then on the placemat I have the right side facing down. I'm going to put a few pins around this, and we are going to stitch a 1/4 inch around this placemat, but we're going to leave an opening for turning. So we'll leave that opening right here. Now I'm going to trim the backing and the batting to match the placemat, 1/4 inch. Now I'm just going to clip off some of this bulk in the corners. Now I'm going to close this opening. I think I'm going to hand stitch this one because I'm not top stitching the edge, but I will press it good, close that up, hand stitch it, and then I'm going to stitch in the ditch right along the picture frame. Now we know this placemat is going to be around food and drinks, needing washed. So whenever I put artwork or photos on material, I always preserve them with either this Scotchgard fabric water shield, or there's a fabric protector. You need to do this in a well ventilated area, but I do use about 3 coats, and then when you wash it, it just protects it longer. If you've used this for a long time, you might want to redo it after a year or so. I just love the way this turned out. I hope I have inspired you to do one for yourself. These make great memory gifts. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. That's all I have for you today. See you in the next video.